Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Hope you're all having a good morning so far. So the common theme with the last few videos has been about sort of nutrition and understanding of calories, and I've kind of dabbled in what a caloric deficit is and how you need to put yourself in that deficit to lose body fat or lose weight. So today's specifically going to be about how you burn your body fat. It's going to be a very sort of brief understanding without getting too complicated. If you have any questions, post them down below. I'll get to them. If you're watching, make sure you say hello. Don't just sit in the background and say nothing. Say hello to me. So yeah, when it comes to looking to lose weight, and that's like 98% of the population when they come into a gym, that's the number one thing that I hear is ask someone what their goals are. I want to do this, I want to lose weight and get fitter. Healthier, lose weight, get fitter. Along the lines of that. But what people lack is that basic understanding of how losing body fat is actually achieved. There's a big misconception between what losing weight and what body fat actually is. Now, anyone can go do a 6-week blitz or an 8-week cleanse or any of that sort of stuff where they'll lose weight incredibly quickly. But the question you need to ask yourself, and I'm sure I've said this in other videos, is where does that weight come from? Just because the weight on the scales has gone down, don't just assume that it's body fat. Chances are that some of it are body fat, yes, because your body's adjusting to this new diet, this new regime that you've been doing for 6, 8, 12 weeks, whatever you've been doing. But what they don't realise is if they're not keeping up with the other pieces of that puzzle, be it your resistance training, your cardiovascular training, as well as your diet, your body's going to adjust to what you're doing. Now, if you're not doing those things, your body's going to realise that it doesn't need to maintain as much muscle mass as it currently has on it. So it's going to start to oxidise some of your muscle mass and use as energy. It's a lot more efficient for your body to break down a protein, which is obviously your muscles, than it is for a fat cell. So if you're not training regularly, training hard, and causing your body to grow muscle mass because it needs it, then it's going to get rid of what it doesn't need so that your body can position itself with its current situation. And if that's no physical training whatsoever, and you're eating no carbs, high proteins or not much proteins, and you've cut all your fats, they're regular ones that I hear a lot, then your body's going to adapt to that. And whilst people might lose 10, 12, 15, whatever kilos, they just automatically assume that because they've lost the weight, that's a big tick and they've lost body fat. And what actually happens is their body chews through their muscle mass and they don't realise they're actually becoming weaker. And it's not until they go to pick something up or move something or run around with their kids that they go, I'm feeling unfit. I don't feel as strong as I used to. I don't know why. I guess I better go get a gym membership. And now they've stepped onto a new tangent where all their focus is going to be training in the gym and not so much on their diet. So you can kind of see the need for both things to happen there. Whatever you're doing, your body will adapt to, but you need to have an understanding of how what you're doing is going to affect your body versus what actual end results you want. So with any sort of goal setting, you need to obviously have that end idea of where you want to be. And then you need to reverse engineer the plan to work out exactly what you should be doing to get to where you want to be from where you are. So back to how you fat burn. Now again, caloric deficit, that's the only way you're going to lose weight. All right. Now specifically saying weight, because if you're in that caloric deficit where your body needs to draw calories from itself for energy, then yes, you will lose weight. Hey mum, how you going? But if you're not keeping up with the other stuff, that's where you can start to go down that slippery slope. So to successfully lose body fat, to burn body fat, you need to be training regularly, training hard, keeping yourself active with your cardiovascular. So whether it's a walk before or after a workout, or on the off days that you're not doing a workout, in conjunction with a diet that is going to sustain the energy requirements that your body needs. 1, just to exist, and 2, to compensate for your energy, your physical energy output as well. So your caloric deficit still comes into play there, but you need to actively have your training, morning dad, need to have your training in check as well as your nutrition. Like you can't just have one without the other. Otherwise you're not going to see the right results that you want to see. So as you got your end goal, you've reverse engineered that. So you need to train X amount of days per week and your diet needs to have X amount of calories in it. Morning, Nikki. It needs to have X amount of calories in it to sustain just your daily total expenditure of calories. Now the best way to start with that is find your maintenance caloric level. So that's just what you need to exist for the day, not taking into account for your training to start with. Once you've been doing that for say like 4 weeks, then you can start to put yourself in that caloric deficit. So there's 2 ways that you can do that. One, which most people do, is they reduce their food intake. Generally you don't want to do that in large amounts, otherwise your body can stall. So we would normally do it in like a block of 300 calories. So you're continuing your training, you'll probably see some weight shift there as you're burning calories and you're being consistent with all of that sort of stuff. As you put yourself in your caloric deficit, so let's say you take off 300 calories that you would normally eat in a day, your body then needs to bridge that gap, but you're still doing your training, you're still doing your cardio, and you're still eating properly, like following your diet plan. And then you'll start to see some results happening there. But because you're keeping up with your weight training and your cardio training, your body realizes that it still needs to maintain your muscle mass, it still needs to maintain your fitness and all of those things that go along with it. So what's going to happen is, because it still needs these things, it's going to go, well, I can't chew through your muscles for energy, I guess I better go use the fat stores that I've got. And that's how your body, in a nutshell, starts to burn your body fat. But it takes consistency to get to that stage. You've got to move your body into a position from where it currently is into the ideal position for it to start burning the body fat first, and then the hard work really starts. And by hard work, I mean just consistency. You sticking to your plan, your workout plan, your diet, sticking to all of that for the duration. Now what will happen is, as you're in that first caloric deficit through your eating, your body will start to flatten out. Like that'll become the new normal, and that's what your body starts to adjust to. So that's where you look at your goals, look at how close you are to achieving your end result. If you need to, then you can reduce your calories that little bit more whilst maintaining all of your physical training as well. Also training, when it comes to training, changing that up as well, so your body's not just getting used to one workout program. And then you've got that new caloric deficit in there. Your training's different as well, so your body needs to change and adapt to that, which is where you'll start to see that drop in your weight again. I've done this with many clients before where they've done a 12-week cut with me, and we work in a 3-phase structure. The training changes every 4 weeks. We put them in more of a caloric deficit every 4 weeks, and they see some great results. One that I've worked with recently, he dropped 8% body fat over the 12 weeks. That's just body fat. His weight maybe changed 2-3 kilos. So like, I hope that gives you some sort of idea of like what the number on the scales is. Really doesn't mean shit, because it's just a number. Like you could put a rock on the scales and the rock, it weighs 20 kilos. Doesn't mean it's fat. It's just an objective weight, but it's us that gives that number power. What you need to have a clear understanding is what your body fat percentage is, what your lean muscle mass is inside your body weight, like what's the actual makeup of that. And then you can really track your results and see how your body's changing, how you're increasing your lean muscle mass, how you're decreasing your fat mass, how your body fat percentage is changing overall as you're going through each stage of that caloric deficit. I hope that makes a bit of sense. It's a real simple ideal once you get your mind wrapped around it, but at first it can be a little bit overwhelming, and the key is to not overcomplicate it. Do your own research, understand calories, understand how they break down, how fast they break down, and researching into how, hey Sue, how you going? How your nutrition affects your training and how they should be working together. You can't just do one and expect amazing results. There's more pieces to that puzzle, so you can't expect the whole picture if you're not playing with all the pieces. That's about it. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Like to lose your body fat, put yourself in that caloric deficit whilst maintaining all of your training requirements. That way your body's going to keep its muscle mass on. Otherwise it's going to oxidize that and it's going to use it as energy, and you're going to get weaker, you're going to lose that muscle mass, and you're not going to really know why. But it needs to be over a structured plan, time frame. Like you need to have, when you're mapping out your goal, you've got to have a very clear idea of how long you're going to do this particular thing for, and how each step and each phase is going to work for you, and when you need to adjust your diet to go that little bit further, or do you need to increase your training to go that little bit further. Yeah, best thing you can do is do your research, understand how calories affect your body, exactly what a caloric deficit is. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask in the group. I can give you a little bit more specific insight into your body requirements, and we can go from there. All right, guys, well, that's it for today. Hope you have a good Saturday. Like I said, if you've got any questions, just comment in the group, tag me in that, and I'll happily get back to you. See you next Wednesday. Bye, guys.